This episode of the Play the Game podcast is brought to you by LoneWolfPaintball.com. And when it comes to paintball, Lone Wolf is the name you can trust. They have been in the game since the very beginning as Michigan's premier field and supplier since 1987, and Lone Wolf has built a legacy of excellence, passion, and service that runs deep in the game. From their top-tier customer service to same-day shipping on all orders, Lone Wolf makes sure that you are locked and loaded with your new gear fast. No waiting around, no hassle, just the best brands in paintball delivered straight to your door. They've got it all. Markers, loaders, tanks, apparel, accessories, and more from all of your favorite brands. And whether you're just getting started in the game or gearing up for your next big event, LoneWolfPaintball.com has everything you need. Be sure to check out their YouTube channel at Lone Wolf Paintball and follow them on Instagram at Lone Wolf PB to stay up to date on all the latest gear, exclusive sales, and community content. At Play the Game Podcast, we are incredibly grateful for Lone Wolf's continued support, and we cannot wait for you to become a part of their growing community. Head on over to LoneWolfPaintball.com right now and gear up with the best in the game.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in and rocking with us. This episode, we have Scott Stewart of PB Fit and also the MVP of the NXL Mid-Atlantic Open. We were just in Atlantic City, an amazing event filmed on ESPN. This was a big-time event, and Scott had a big-time performance. So without further ado, we are going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
What is going on, everybody? We hope you're doing amazing out there. This is episode number 299. And I wish I could say I was doing as well as our guest that we're having on the show today, who is on an absolute ripper and one of the most explosive rising stars in the game and a key piece to the Texas powerhouse that is PB Fit, a player who is absolutely turning heads every single step of the way and bringing grit and hustle and hunger to the game. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome the one and only Scott Stewart to the show, bro. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How you guys
Hell
doing?
Yeah. Hell yeah, you are. Come on, boy.
Yeah. I mean, look, paintball hat on, not doing so well. Podcast hat on, fan of the game, doing great. Real life, doing great. It's obviously tough to come and do these shows after you've fallen short, but man, your guys' story is pretty inspiring and it's cool to see. And it's I think it's actually exceptionally amazing that Tyler and I think can both sit here and be in a position where we're actually genuinely excited for a team like Paintball Fit, because it has changed a little bit of the meta of paintball, which is really cool. I'm sure you've heard like a lot of people talking about it. What you guys have done has been pretty spectacular as far as being homegrown. You know, you guys play together 5 days a week at least. You guys are, it's a fit family integrated team, right? It's a team that is not built around, bringing outside players in. You guys have really built from the bottom up, and to find success at the hardest level and in the highest division is it's really impressive. So I think it's a inspiring story for like any of the upcoming, teams and players. I think it's an inspiring story for really anybody that is involved in paintball. If you want to like become one of the best players in the world or one of the best teams in the world, you don't need to do what you thought you had to do for so long. You really just have to build it from within. So yeah, man, I mean, look, it's frustrating for us for sure. I'm fucking furious. I'm very frustrated with how our day went. But I also can appreciate your guys' greatness right now and the hard work that you guys are doing to achieve the things that you've achieved. It's not easy to win 3 events in a row. Winning a World Cup, we can kind of talk about that for a second. When you guys won World Cup, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Fit got lucky. That's your guys' thing right now, is you're pushing back on everyone saying you guys got lucky. Yeah. I, from day one, was like, no. You do not get lucky and win World Cup. There's other events that you can kind of get lucky in. I've been lucky in winning some of the middle events. Like things just go your way. Things line up the right way, and you do get a little bit of luck. World Cup has never been that. World Cup is the hardest event in the world to win. So when you guys won that, I was like, nah, there's no luck there. That's for real. And then obviously you guys come out, you win the next one, and people are like, wait a second, what's going on here? And now to win 3 in a row, especially after an incredibly slow start, where I think a lot of people were probably like, okay, there's the real air quotes fit. You know, you go 2-2, you squeak in the wild card round, and then you make a deep Sunday run and win again. It's like, as a paintball fan, I can't be mad at it. Like, I'm so conflicted in my mind because I'm like, I need to hate these guys because they're the best right now. You know, so I got to find every way to like not like them and figure out how to tear them down. But it's also, man, again, I've just been in this game a long time. I could appreciate the greatness. I could appreciate it. I really can. What you guys are doing right now is really cool. It's special. It's unique. It's special. It's inspiring. And again, that's why we're so excited to have you on the show. So thank you for joining us. And there's my rant, I guess. But yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be on with you guys. You guys are definitely players I watched coming up. I grew up actually in California originally. So, I mean, I saw people come through Cap Ed. I repped there for a short period while I was in high school, moved away from there. And so stuff like that just always had people coming through. And you guys are 2 players that have been in the game for such a long time. It's awesome to be here and be, rivals with you guys, so to speak, right? Definitely with you guys being a big team, right? It's supposed to be one of the top teams, if you ask me. You know, that's rivals. That's what we are right now. We're obviously the best at this moment, but it's always about the next one too. So looking forward to that as well.
It's always about the next one, man. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's so funny in sports too, because I feel like when you do, finally win, it's that moment is so fleeting. Like you feel great for a day or two, and then it's like, wait a second. Okay, well, when's the next one? Like, how can I get this feeling again? And it's so weird because you kind of, especially at the pro level, like you've spent majority of your life chasing this thing. That's a lot of time chasing this moment. And it just is fleeting. It's a couple of days and then you're on to the next. You're like, okay, how can I recreate this? So it's very interesting for sure.
Oh, it wouldn't be fleeting for Axel right now. I'll tell you that much. If he got the win,
man, dude.
Yeah,
honestly, I genuinely feel so fucking bad for Axel because that kid wants more than nothing to win with the Tauntauns, especially in the US. Like that is his absolute dream. He's made it very clear. He's passed up massive opportunities, lots of paychecks to stay true to the Tauntauns. And Jesus, bro, they had it. Like if they had it, they had it, and he slipped coming around the thing, and then fate would have it where he has to face you in the overtime and the one-on-ones. And I do want to talk about that. A lot of people are saying you shot him on a bounce shot, but I think you shot him direct and then we're shooting the bounce shot. Can you verify right here what exactly happened there?
I asked him too, because I wasn't sure if I connected or if it was off the bounce shot. And he said it was when I wrapped, I did catch him. But I'm shooting anything that's close. I mean, in a one-on-one, like you're going to probably be floating in open space as well, right? They don't have to be in their spot. So bounce shots that didn't work in practice to kill this guy might work in a one-on-one to shoot this guy because he's standing in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't have to be inside each spot. So I'm just trying to play every variable I can and just put pressure. Don't let him get comfortable.
Yeah, we got to do a deep dive, definitely go into that whole entire game. But before we do all that, let's let the world know about Scott Stewart. Let's let the world know about your journey, where you were born and raised, how you fell in love with paintball. There's so many people who are going to obviously be falling in love with so many players from PB Fit because of the amazing run that you guys are on and what you guys are doing for paintball as a whole. It's really an amazing thing to see you all put God first, to see you all put paintball first, to see you all come together in a way that is really hard to replicate. It's a special thing that you guys have created, and it's truly genuine. You can see it. You can see the genuineness in the play, in the care, in every detail that you guys are displaying on full display for the world to see as we play out these tournaments. So before we get into what just happened out at Atlantic City, let's find out more about you. So kind of start from where it all started, where you were born and raised at, and then like how you found paintball and how it all started.
Yeah, definitely. Grew up in Sacramento, California, born and raised in that area. I kind of bounced around all different cities in that area, but usually right around that Sacramento County area.
Let's give it up for NorCal one time. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, grew up there. My dad took me to play paintball the first time. He had played a bunch growing up. Never like competitive, but just played a lot of paintball. So he took us out to play some woods ball. We were hooked instantly for sure. It was me and my stepbrother, who's the same age as me. We were both instantly hooked. We wanted to play all the time. We couldn't play that often, but anytime we could go out there, had a bunch of fun, you know, always wanted the new stuff. And I started getting on People Nation. I'm looking at all that all the time. Through that, I ended up finding excessive and just falling in love with that, right? Sacramento. I'm like, yeah, go Sacramento, right? So new team to root for, and started to fall in love with that, and found the competitive side of paintball through that. I think I actually originally saw it on one of the ESPN shows when they were showing like the NPPL or something, one of those excessive dynasty matches. I think that was like the first time I was like introduced to it.
Wow.
So that was just an amazing thing to watch. And like, I got super excited. Never really got to play at that time when I first did it, because this is probably late middle school, early high school time. And I just didn't really have the time to play. I was playing baseball and football and all the regular sports, so to speak, growing up. And so once I got into like later high school is when I was able to start playing a little bit more. And I actually got to go play at Capital Edge. So this was probably like 2007, 2008 time. And so that's when I got to see a lot of different pros come through there. Like Bob Long would be there with his big trailer, and a bunch of pros would be there practicing each other and stuff at that time. It was just, I think, 2 speedball fields, and they were like all the way inside the park, where if you go now, they're like kind of on the outsides, right?
That's right. Yeah. That was when Dave first built the park. We had him right inside there. And I think he opened the park in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere right in that area. And that was when I was still playing with Bob. We would be out there all the time, scrimmaging out there.
Yeah. So I remember, you know, reffing some practices and stuff like that a little bit for people. I even got in trouble one time because one team thought I wasn't looking at them when I should have been, even though I was like in their corner. I can't remember what team it was. I remember Rich was playing with them at the time, Rich Telford.
Yeah.
And he was the one yelling at me, but I'm like standing in their corner, supposed to be like reffing that side. And he's like trying to point out somebody on the other side. And he's like, why aren't you reffing them? You know, and I was getting in trouble. But you know, all that just, I didn't hate it. I still loved paintball. I wanted to play a bunch. I just couldn't really afford it. So I'd ref one day, I'd play the next day. We'd just play with pump guns. I'd play on the speedball field with my friends. And I just would have a lot of fun with it. We did a couple like more serious practices or scrimmages where you didn't have to like play a lot of points, but you could just come and rotate through, so to speak. Always enjoyed that and did really well. Didn't get to actually compete until 2015. And at that time I was in college, almost getting ready to graduate college, and started to re-find the game and just re-fall in love with it. When you first went, you know, I was just drinking and partying instead, barely getting some schoolwork done, but eventually I got back on track.
That's how it goes, you know, college.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people's stories are like that one. They disappear from paintball for like 5-6 years and they come back. A lot of those guys were so good though, right? And sometimes they never come back around.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, 2015 or so, I get back into playing. I go to a Thomas Taylor clinic up in NorCal. That's way up north, like by Chico or Redding, I think was technically the city there.
Yeah, man, that's way up there. That's almost on the border.
Yeah, I went to Chico State for college, so I'm like up there already, right? And so this is a convenient little place. What the heck is it? Combat Zone Paintball Park is what it was called. So that was really cool to go out there and do that. And then I just started going out as often as I could. I couldn't even afford it. I was just putting it on my credit card every single weekend. And then, you know, working a delivery job, going to school, just doing everything I could to try and make enough money. I had a buddy at the time that was luckily, he owns a business, still a buddy of mine, but he owns a business. And he was able to front the teams a lot, right? So if we were going to an event at Cap Edge or wherever, or even Davis in that area, somewhere around that area, we'd go play, right? Or even practices. He would front the money. We'd be able to pay him back over time or whenever you could. And he was really awesome with me about that stuff, making it more possible for me, right? I'm trying to pay off this credit card bill as much as I can, but I'm definitely racking it up faster than I can pay it down. And yeah, just falling in love with it even more and more. I played D5 that first year. We won 3 events by the end of the year, I believe, all at that Cap Edge League, actually. PL. So that was really awesome.
Yeah, Dave's done an amazing job with that league in Northern California. If you're up there and you're not playing in the CEPL, definitely get a hold of that one. Find out how you can get involved in those tournaments. And actually, we have Thomas the Troll Taylor in the PTG World guest questions here. And he is wondering, tell us about, Chico State, Northman, NCI, and your favorite troll. And he also says, these are his words right here, Scott Stewart has been one of the most self-motivated players he has ever worked with in all of his years of coaching. Where does that drive to be successful and continuing the success come from? He has a question for you too.
All right. Yeah. So I guess I'll try and start from the top there. Maybe you can help me get back on track if I forget.
I will. Yeah.
So he said to talk about Northman. That was like the very first team that we created in 2015, end of 2015, beginning of 2016 season, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or it might have been end of 2014, beginning of 2015 season. Because it was right when the NXL was forming, right? It was that the true semi had happened right at that same off-season time. So I hadn't played before that competitively, and then it was that true semi. We didn't play true semi, but obviously you guys did for that one event. Or did you guys end up playing one event with it or no?
Yeah, we played true semi, and it was wow. Let me just say,
it was the worst. That was literally that is the single decision that killed the PSP. That right there. I believe that true semi was like the tipping point, because the NXL was already kind of brewing in the backgrounds. There was like a group that wanted to form the NXL. They were frustrated that the PSP continuously went to Texas during that time where it was always a mud bowl. Go figure that also happened to them for many years. But and then the PSP like implemented this rule of true semi, which was so ridiculous. I remember thinking like, okay, this is so dumb. You should never pull the trigger and a ball does not come out, right? Like that should never happen. That should literally never happen. That is a disaster. And that was the case with true semi, because you could, the limit was 10 balls a second. And so the way it worked, true semi was within 1 second, you break that up into tenths, and you had to pull the trigger exactly in each tenth of a second in order to get 10 balls within 1 second. So if you pulled it 2 times within a tenth, you would skip a shot. So like, it was such a disaster. People didn't like it. Nobody loved it. People hated it. The event also got rained out. And then, here spawned the NXL. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So as that's all happening, we created that little team called the Northmen. We went out and just played in every event we could, kind of locally, Davis events, Cap Edge events, as I mentioned. And that's when we won 3 events by the end of that first year. Thomas was coaching us and helping us out. He was playing with Heat, I believe, at the time. So he would just come out and drill during the weeks, right? Because those guys aren't together all the time, as most teams, I guess, are nowadays. They're not together. I feel like that was kind of the beginning.
Get to rub it in, bud.
Hey, we enjoy being together. I love those dudes. So I'm soaking it in every day for sure.
I mean, we love our team too. It's just, we just don't live next to each other. Unfortunately.
Yeah,
sure. That's funny.
But yeah, so living in NorCal, he was just up there and able to come out and practice. And so anytime he'd be there, we would be there. At one point, he started to try and get like big lights up just to where we could be close to the one side of the field, right? It was a smaller field anyways. We could be close to one side of the field and at least get some drills and practices in at night and all the time. And just as often as we could, I was going there and trying to just get some drills in, whether it was a box or a bunch of cases, and playing a full-on practice with everybody, always pushing the whole team just to go out there and be there. We had a lot of conversations at that time of like, if you don't want to be here, like that's a problem and that's okay. But like, we don't want people that don't want to be here. Like you should want to be out here every weekend. If you don't, like maybe this team isn't for you guys. And that's as a D5 group. So I feel like we were taking it pretty serious right from the start. I lived with one of the guys on the team, Chris. Me and him would, go do workouts together every day and stuff like that. And we would like tell each other stuff the whole time, like pushing each other to go harder. But we were just trying to get in shape and be ready for those next events, right? We'd say something about the prize money or whatever else, or something that we thought we needed to do or prove a team wrong or whatever it was at the time. So we always were just pushing each other. And that was really the start of the whole paintball dream for me. and winning all those events that first season was a lot of fun. At the end of that year, I went to a WCPPL and played on a throw together D5 team. I think it was D5. Might have been D4. And that was kind of a really cool experience. First time I went out of my area. It was with kind of a throw together team, but I got to play a whole bunch. They had this coach that came up and was helping us. He was a higher division player. His name's James Greer. Really cool guy. And I remember him coaching, and I was really excited as a new guy, like to get like a really high level, another guy to like give me feedback instantly. Because Thomas was always there for the practices, but for a lot of the events, he couldn't be there. When he was there, it was always amazing, but he'd be, at a heat practice or, having to go to an event or whatever. And that'd be around the same time we're doing our stuff. So some of those events he wasn't there. So having another player be able to critique me, I was really excited. So I remember we come into the pit after a bad point, and he has us all lined up and he's talking to everybody, right? He's like, oh, you got to do this. And you really got to work on this. And like, hey man, you can't do this. And I'm like, I'm getting all excited. I'm like, all right, he's about to give me some sweet feedback. Like, it's going to be sweet. He looks at me and just goes, keep doing what you're doing. And I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I was genuinely like upset. I was like, man, like I thought you were about to like just rip into me and tell me why I suck so I can like work on it, So that was
real quick. I want to, if you don't mind, I want to interject there because there's a lot of kids that I coach that I'll have a similar thing, and it's really tough when you're the best player on the field at that time. It's hard for a coach to really give much criticism. So I'll have players that come up to me and they're just dominating in these practices, and they're like, well, what can I do better? I'm like, well, it's hard to say because you didn't encounter any issues and you didn't make any bad decisions. So like you played the game the right way and you had success. It's hard for me to give you feedback on this, right? Like now, until you encounter a tougher situation or a tougher opponent, it's really hard, And so like, yeah, kind of keep doing what you're doing. And I understand as a player that might be like really frustrating, but as a coach, it's also very difficult sometimes because those players have come to me many times like, no, you got to tell me what to do better. I'm like, okay, well, honestly, it's just continuously work on everything that you're working on. Keep working on your gun skills, keep working on understanding the game better, keep exploring risk and opportunity in matches. But if you want me to give you like specific stuff from today, you didn't make any bad decisions and you dominated. Like it's hard to give you much,
Yeah, totally. You weren't tested to really see.
You weren't tested to see it. Yeah.
That makes sense. Totally. So I guess that just kind of speaks to the drive that I had during this whole paintball experience. So at the end of that season, it had always been a dream of mine to go live in Colorado. Since I was a young kid, I've been a Denver Broncos fan as long as I can remember. There's pictures of me wearing Dolphins gear, and my dad and my stepdad are both Dolphins fans. So I believe that at one point I was a Dolphins fan, but not that I can remember. I've always been a Broncos fan in my memory. So I'm going to stick to that story anyways. So I wanted to go move out in Colorado. I love snowboarding as well. So at the end of 2015, I went ahead and just did it. Drove out there, didn't have anything, just had everything in my car, paintball gear basically, and a bunch of clothes. Didn't have any, furniture or anything like that. I was living in college before, right? So it was just kind of, piecing together furniture from Craigslist, nothing that I needed to keep. So I just went out there and found a job and just made it work, and still wanted to play paintball. So I still made that work as well. I'd go out to the fields as much as I could, and tried to play a little bit with my team from California, the Northmen. Ended up joining Denver Chaos instead, and kind of played with them for a handful of years as well. And then I believe it was in 2018 was the first time Thomas started NorCal Infamous. And so that was the NCI, and I went back and was playing underneath them as well in 2018. But I was
Did you move all the way back?
Nope. I would drive sometimes though. So I actually just saw a memory from like 2 weeks ago when it was event layout. I drove to California, practiced with them from Colorado, drove to California, practiced with them. Like I drove Friday night, practiced Saturday, Sunday, drove back Sunday night to Colorado so I could work and, do regular life all over again.
Whatever it takes. Yeah. You got to get it done.
Like 2,500 miles or something like that. Cause I think I even went down south towards SoCal at one point for some practice or something. Or Bay. So back and forth, kind of all over the place there up in NorCal.
And for the listeners, how old are you and how old were you when you moved out to Colorado?
Yeah, so right now I am 34 years old. And when I moved to Colorado, I was, that was 2016. So I was 24, 25.
Yeah. Damn.
Did you come out to one of the clinics when I was there?
I did. It
Someone-
was YouTube and it was Mikey Arena as well.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah. Fuck, dude. Someone
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it. I'm not going to try to pretend that I did, but it was like I think there was
Sorry.
I was like, was that me?
No.
There was a kid named, I think, Bobby there, who was a professional rugby player. You remember him? Bobby, I forget his last name. Probably find him on Instagram. But he just recently, I ran into him at an event. He's back and he's like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm looking at him like, "Bobby." And he's like, "Holy shit, you remember my name?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, you're at the thing in Colorado." And we started talking for a while. He's like, "Dude, do you know Scott Stewart was there?" And I was like, "What? No way, dude. He's like fucking one of the best players in the league right now. What are you talking about?" Bobby, what's his last name? Let me find him. Bobby Impson.
Bobby Impson?
Yeah.
Doesn't ring a bell for me, actually.
No? Okay. Yeah, he was a little bit shorter, definitely jacked. I think he ended up becoming.
I probably recognize the face. Sometimes I can be bad with names a little bit.
Yeah. And Trent Nita wasn't out there at that time, right? That was later.
No, he had moved away by then. He was playing. I did play with Trent for a while though, on our Denver Chaos team that we had there. But that was, I don't know, probably 2018-ish, 2017 maybe, and then Trent after that moved and started playing with some other teams and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Trent's a savage. That kid is a little menace on the field.
Yeah, most definitely.
He's a menace. Like, dude, you have no respect. He's just a menace. He's just a menace, dude.
Just a menace. No doubt.
I love him though. I do.
Dude,
okay.
I know
Sorry, I keep interrupting, but
everyone saw that video of Hosky putting like 25 into Ryan when he walked off the snake side. Yeah. Like, oh my God. Speaking of menaces.
Yeah, I know, but they lost. Yeah, Hosky's a menace too. Yeah, but Trent's more of a menace. Trent's way more of a menace. Hosky is like, I don't know. Hosky will like, he'll like get away with it when he can, but Trent, like, he's just gonna do it no matter what. He's just Trent's a little different. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I think we're in like 2018 right now.
Yeah.
Playing for NCI.
Yeah, playing with NCI. I was still playing with the Denver Chaos guys as well. I think what it was I was playing WCPPLs with Denver Chaos and then NXLs with NCI. So it was kind of separated, right? And I believe we were both playing at the same division, D3 at the time in both. So that was a lot of fun. I got to work with Thomas again and kind of play with the same group of guys that I had originally come up with a couple different faces as well that had kind of phased in and out, right? And then was still playing with a group of guys that I loved out in Colorado. I've been very blessed with great paintball families everywhere I've gone. Still friends with basically everyone that I've played on teams with, right? I mean, all the people that I've been around have been so lucky. They've been great. Like I mentioned, the first guy was fronting us half the time. On the next group, you know, people like even Trent's mom was trying to help us get deals on things and anything that we could to kind of help people make ends meet and be able to do this as much as we all wanted to. So I've just been so lucky.
Well, that's a testament to you as well, my friend. You know, that just doesn't happen to anybody. It's reciprocated, and it's the energy that you put in is what you get out of it as well, right? So if people are going to want to help someone, an individual who is hungry, who cares, who's honest, who is going to pay the bill back when it is fronted, who's going to do all the right things, right? That's what's going to open up all those doors. And that's just a straight up testament to you being a good guy. So, I mean, that to anybody out there who wants to make this thing work, you're going to have to travel. You're going to have to like throw caution to the wind and do whatever it's going to take, drive 2,500 miles and do all the things in order to connect the dots, make the relationships. And if you want the dream to come true, you're a living testament that it can be done right here, you know?
Yeah, 1,000%. Hard work always pays off. Just a matter of time.
That's it, dude.
So yeah, playing with those guys, super fun. We actually did really well as NCI. I think we got like top 3 or third or second the first event. I think we got third because I don't think I played on the pro field with those guys. Third the first event, like 6th the next one. We got like a 5th after that. But then my team from Colorado for Cup, we wanted to go play Cup as a team. So I ended up stepping away and not playing the last event or two with NCI and playing just with my other team. We were just trying to, push it and get better and better. And grow as a group as well on that side. So I wanted to stay loyal with them. But yeah, I mean, Thomas was always great about trying to bring me in and help me get a little bit further by just putting me on some of those groups and getting me with those guys that are also going to be just as good or better than me, so I can continue to learn and grow. So that's been monumental to where I'm at, and where I was even able to consider going because of the guidance that I got from all those guys, for sure.
So once you moved to Colorado, you obviously really sharpening your skills. How did you make the move into the pro scene? Obviously through the connections in Colorado, and then that. How many years have you been? When did you move to Texas? Let's just start there, actually.
So I moved to Texas in 2021. So I'm in Colorado in 2018. Just playing and grinding. I was going to an indoor field probably 2 days a week as well. We ended up building or helped building a speedball field at another location, and we're playing there. At one point, we even went down south and played like on like the sandy ground at some place, which was actually not fun. I don't know how you guys played on Huntington Beach like that. It was a good time at all. Couldn't slide or anything. I don't know what you guys were doing out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I was finding any way I could to grind, and then I started going to pro tryouts, trying to find any way into the pro scene that I could. You know, I'd gone to clinics with people like you guys and just tried to absorb as much as I could, but it just continued to sound like, you know, you just have to be there. Like I don't know what to explain. Like you just kind of you got to somehow find a way to take a big leap. So I went to a diesel tryout in 2020. Mark Johnson said that they liked me and that they wanted to try and give me another shot after originally not making the team. At the actual tryout, I was told that I just didn't make it. Then apparently there was a snafu or an issue with another guy getting another offer, trying to leverage another offer with them. And Mark wasn't having it, so he invited me to come out and start trying to practice with them every once in a while, layout weekends and stuff like that. I did it once before the first event, the Vegas event, and then right after that, COVID happened. So that season was kind of a wash. I didn't play Cup that year because I actually had a car accident and I'd broken my collarbone.
Yeesh.
But then as soon as I could, I was trying to get back out and play again. 2021 came the AC Dallas tryouts. I went ahead and went out there and tried out for them. I was able to make the team at that point, and I already had planned with a buddy to move out to Texas. I said, you know what, if I can't make this AC Dallas team, at the time I didn't know what was happening, right? So I'm like, okay, AC Dallas is looking for more players. If I can't make this team that needs a whole bunch of players, I see everyone left. I'm like, I'll just go play with Paintball Fit. Like I'll try to at least. Like they're supposed to be there all the time. Like apparently they're doing really good in divisional. Like I'll just try and play with them. But obviously AC Dallas became Paintball, or Paintball Fit became AC Dallas. And so I jumped on with them there, and that's how I was able to break into pro, I guess you could say.
So you played with them in that, what year was that? Was that 2020? 2021? Okay.
Yep.
When they had the pro spot?
Yep. Yeah. So we played that season together. I didn't get a lot of play time that year. I was still new, and I was also still needing to get a lot better, in my opinion. Not that I felt like I was terrible, but I could see that there was a gap in paintball knowledge and just IQ of how they moved on the field. You know, watching people like Colt Lukow, you're like, man, if he's doing that, I should be able to do something like that too. Like, not that he should be bad, but like if he's that big and he can command his gun and control the field and run up the field and stuff, why am I scared to play in the back? Or why am I not being as aggressive in the snake or in the Doritos? At that point, I'd been mostly a Dorito player, to be honest. I'd play everywhere.
I wanted to talk to you about this. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Dorito player. I even have a handle at D-Side Killer on Instagram. When I switched it to just my name, I went ahead and like remade the D-Side Killer account just to like make sure, because everybody used to know me as that. So I used to have a lot of people like me there, and then I like sent them to the other account. But yeah, that was a funny time for sure. And that's how I broke into it though. So after I came out to Texas, just grinded as much as I could. My buddy was actually Dylan Fout, the video guy.
Yeah.
So he was with me all the time, right?
You look like you could be Dylan's brother. You guys literally look like you could be brothers.
I feel that. I feel like it's the beard. It's probably the beard, you know.
Might be the beard. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, me and Dylan lived out here for a handful of years until he moved back home. But we did some video stuff, and I felt like that helped kind of put me out there as someone that's going to be working hard to more of a wide audience as well. But more than that, I was just grinding continually. Right at that point, Fit didn't have lights, so as soon as I could get off work, I usually would do it again 2 times a day, just like I did or 2 times a week, excuse me, just like I did in Colorado. I'd go out there, I'd be by myself, I'd just run drills. I'd do whatever I could. I was doing like conditioning, cardio, and snap shooting in between it, doing long range run and guns, like anything I could just to continue to get better. I would talk to the guys and I'd be like, hey, what do you guys think I should be doing? I'm not getting any play time. Like, how do I earn more play time? What do you guys think? Our coach wasn't around every single weekend to be there like all the players were. So I was just getting feedback from whoever could. And at that point, you know, they were telling me different things like, hey, try and work on this, try and work on that. So I'd focus on those things, whether it was, you know, the wrap snap or just snap shooting or, hey, you're not moving around enough or whatever. I'd be like, okay, well, maybe it's my cardio then. If I'm not moving enough, like, should probably start running around more and make sure I'm able to. And that's not why I'm not moving, because I'm too tired. So yeah, just doing whatever I could at that point in 2021. 2022, the team obviously gets relegated at the end of 2021. In 2022, at the beginning of the year, Colt messaged me and said that he'd love to have me back. I just wanted to make sure that things were going to be different than when I felt like they were before. I didn't feel like I was able to earn the playing time. I didn't really have much of a chance is what it felt like, but I also wasn't mad. I didn't run away. I didn't leave. A lot of guys that came originally to that team with it becoming AC Dallas left right after, right? Unless they were already part of Paintball Fit beforehand. And we lost some guys after that as well. Not that they didn't want to. Most of the guys we lost after Fit were for different reasons. But at the beginning of that first season of AC Dallas, people were like, ooh, we're not going to be good. And if I'm not going to get play time, or if we're not going to be good, maybe I don't want to do this. And I was kind of the only one that stuck around from that. And I feel like because of that, they wanted to bring me on to Paintball Fit, which was a big part of, again, my story, in my opinion, is just working hard, even if it's not going the way you want. You know, that AC Dallas year was definitely super tough. Hold on, I apologize.
Your phone's got to be blowing up, I'm sure, after yesterday.
My computer, yes, my phone is blowing up, but my computer's about to die. Let me grab the charger.
All right, get that charger. Yeah, very interesting, man.
10%. Yeah, I mean, just honestly, an amazing story that I'm not surprised about. Again, the PB Fit formula is tried and true. Organizations that have found tons of success, they have players and individuals that are exactly like this. It's the work when nobody's looking. It's the dedication. It's the commitment to not just winning, but to each other, to the team, to the organization itself. That bleeds into everything you do together. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Again, it's just confirmation of the formula here, you know, and pretty incredible. There's a few of those AC Dallas players that were like part of the PB Fit era that I want to talk to him about, like Logan Dyer. He was such a good player. We got you back?
Yep, we're all good.
Yeah. I kind of want to, like, there's a few players, like I remember in that era, the year that AC Dallas got regulated, one of the players on the team that stood out, I thought at least, was, I think his name was Logan Dreyer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What happened to him, and why did he part ways with the camp? Because he was one of the ones that was like, okay, there's a lot of potential there, but then I don't know, turns out everybody was wrong and didn't quite need him and the team, you know what I mean? But yeah, what happened with that?
So he was invited back as well. I believe he took an offer with Diesel and played with them that following year. And then being the way that we are, you know, he never got another invite, I would say. It just never came back around. I think right now he's actually playing with Shut Up We're Trying in semi-pro. He also played with Austin FSU the following year after the AC Diesel season. And that was the year before the Goldman pickup and all that, and A-Rod and Spica and all that. So that was when Dyer was with them the year before that. Then they did all the big pickups. So he got dropped, went to FSU, now playing with Shut Up We're Trying.
Yeah, it's interesting when you see like potential like that, because he, in my opinion, never fulfilled what it seemed like he was going to be able to fulfill. And, you know, I would love to have him on the show, actually, because you almost wonder, does it all go back to one decision of, you know, leaving a certain team, a certain group? Decisions are really important. And it's interesting how a decision can completely change the outcome of whatever story it is that you're, you know, whatever path you're on. These small decisions have massive consequences. But yeah, that was always curious because he was definitely the most advanced at that time, in my opinion. You know, watching him, he was like the one that was the most pro ready. And then it, never took the next step. And then obviously you can't say that now. Pretty much every other player on FIT is obviously in a different spectrum. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a good player in my opinion. I don't think Logan Myers is a bad player, and he's young. He can still do whatever he wants in this league. I think that's true for anybody, right? If you want it bad enough, you can get it. So
totally.
Not going to count him out or anything like that. But
no, I wasn't trying to do that again. It's just he was like he was a spark, right? He was a name where I was like, man, this kid's gonna be really good. And then you kind of stopped hearing about him for a little while, and yeah, so we'll see. Logan, I wishing you the best, man, because again, saw a lot of potential in you. But you pissed off the FIT family, I guess. So that's fucked up.
So yeah, and then where were we at? That was 2022. We go back down to semi-pro.
Yeah. You guys sandbagged for like 2 years, just fucking completely sandbagged the division, beat up everybody.
Yeah, more or less. Or we kind of played really sloppy that first year, realized if you want to win these fucking games, you can't be playing around. Sorry for language there. Can't be playing around though, and you can't just, expect to win. You have to actually put in the work. You have to stay focused the whole time. There's no slipping up or thinking, hey, because we're better, it doesn't matter, we're just going to win. You can believe that, but you also have to have the work and the actual knowledge behind it if you're actually going to achieve what you believe there. Right. So there was a gap there in kind of, at least for me, for sure, where I thought we should have been and where we were. We were losing matches on Sunday. When you said we're doing really good in prelims, right? But we were losing matches on Sundays, not in the finals only, semis, quarters, losing these matches you really shouldn't be losing. And for the most part, when I look back on it, at least in my opinion, we were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. These teams weren't bad and they were doing good things. But even at Cup that year in 2022, we went down big against Distortion, and I believe it was the quarterfinals. Ended up having to score 3 45-second points in order to come back and just tie it, sent it into OT. So it's just like those situations where you're like, oh my God, how are we even putting ourselves down 3 points with a minute 30 left or, minute 45 left? We shouldn't be doing this if we're actually supposed to be the best team here. If we actually believe that, then we shouldn't be in these situations. We should be playing tighter. We should be making less mistakes, all this stuff that is resulting in this. Because it's not like these guys were making the best moves in the world to come get us out. We were over-engaging in gunfights, not using your teammates, making these silly mistakes that, especially in the pro league, isn't going to cut it. So that's when we really hunkered down or really focused up even more, and kind of, in my opinion, that year made us who we are more than even the pro year. And getting relegated is that year of we should be the best team. We know if we're we're the best team. And right now we're just not doing that. We have to do this all the time. And those guys had come from winning a lot. I had just won those D5 tournaments. And then I hadn't actually won events after that. I had done well, I'd gotten thirds and seconds and fifths and all this kind of stuff, but I wasn't getting to the very top. I wasn't winning finals. So that was something I feel like I still needed to learn is how to win and how to do it consistently. So that was what I was learning that year alongside some of those guys. And those guys were also just getting better, right? We were all getting better and pushing each other. And then the next year we came in upset because that Cup year, we kind of thought we already had it as soon as we made top 4. Turns out that wasn't true because of the way points worked out that 2021 season or 2022 season, with events dropping based on the minor events and things like that. So I think we ended up losing to FSU for the series, and we lost them in the finals that year in 2022 at World Cup. So that was a very bitter defeat. Thought we had the pro spot, thought we were going to win the event. Didn't get either of those things. Super tough. I felt like we had been playing better than we had all year. And for it to end like that was super, super tough for me. But it just put more drive in all of us, I think, as well. So after that, 2023, we came out and just absolutely dominated, like you were kind of saying. Felt like we were quote unquote sandbagging to some people, I guess. But yeah, just ended up winning 5 straight, losing very few matches even. And everyone's just holding each other accountable all the time. We do get very hype and passionate with each other, but it's never trying to just put someone down just to like be mean or because like they didn't do what you wanted them to do. It's always like for a reason. Like you'll see us argue walking off, winning a point. We'll be arguing with each other because like we could have done this, or like, why didn't you tell me about that thing that you had going on over there? Like you didn't tell me 3 people were looking at you. You were just yelling the one spot you were looking at. Like, what are you doing over there? I could have made a move off that info, you know? So just little things like that. We're always picking on each other. And that's kind of what built us up that 2023 year. And then 2024 is when we went pro again.
You know, sports are so crazy to me because they're so analogous to life, and actually I think really important to building character. But you talk about that 2022 season where you guys thought you had the pro spot won. You get to World Cup. This is your dream. This is your life, your livelihood. It's everything to you. You guys are dedicating and sacrificing all this time for something, and you get to a point where you believe you have it in the palm of your hands. You get to the finals on the biggest stage in your careers at that point, and you lose. You come up short. It's taken away from you, and that feeling, not many people can understand the disappointment and the way you feel about yourself and the people around you, and just the energy that is in a moment like that, the gravity of that type of situation. It honestly can feel like a never-ending pit of like darkness, because everything that you just spent all this time, this whole year building towards something, and it's ripped away from you. And now we're 2 years later and we're sitting here and look at you guys again. You've won 3 pro tournaments in a row. You've completely changed the landscape of professional paintball. You've done probably the most unprecedented thing in professional paintball since Dynasty in 2001. And I would argue that what you guys have done is more impressive simply because it's a different era and it's harder than ever to win now than it was then. Now you guys have a long ways to go to take down Dynasty as the greatest team of all time, but the reality is, like, what you guys have done as the newcomers on the block is more impressive than what Dynasty did at that time, because the competition is so stiff. You know, Dynasty, when they won in 2001, it was like they were athletes treating the game the way it should be treated, playing against old timers that were kind of not quite taking it as serious. So it was a little different. You guys have broken through in a time where everybody's taking it very seriously. Everybody's acting like professionals. Everybody is, you know, and again, that's not to diminish what Dynasty has done. Nobody's doing that. They are the GOAT team, greatest of all time team. But what you guys have done, we're sitting here 2 years later. And so you look at these timestamps and you look at like the difference in how you feel right now, sitting here on this screen versus how you felt 2 years ago. Those are defining moments for individuals. And it happens in life as well. You encounter these times where it might seem like the sky is falling on you and you've completely fallen short. You did not achieve what you set out to do. What are you going to do from there to finally reach your goal? Because that is the defining moment. That is the most important moment in your life, not the result of what you thought was the most important moment of your life, but what you do right after that. That's the most important fucking moment in your life. And like, it's just so impressive. And it just, again, because obviously I've had so many ups and downs in the sport where you have these moments of complete failure, you know, and you're like, man, I can't get it done. And then you have these moments of complete success and you're on top of the world. And then the next event, it's complete failure again. And you're like, it's so up and down, and it's always about what you do next. Right. And it's so, again, analogous to life and important for all the listeners to understand. Like, you can continuously chase a dream, and no matter how many times you fail, you can't give up on it. You cannot give up on it, because, again, where you guys were sitting 2 years ago, it's just so funny to see where you're sitting right now in completely different spaces, you know, and it's that fortitude, that mentality, that belief in yourself, because it takes a lot of belief in yourself to push through those failures, and a group around you that also believes in you and supports you. You know, it's really special. And again, that's why, like, I know Tyler as well, but really excited to have you on the show, because not many people, not many groups, not many teams can overcome that kind of stuff. And it says a lot about somebody from a character standpoint, you know, not just like, okay, you're a good paintball player. I get it. Great. Fantastic. But you've got to be a pretty fucking solid human to be able to like succeed and excel in that way, you know? And that's it's a special thing, man. You know, it really is. It genuinely is.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
So we arrive. We are now in the present moment, and Fit is on top. You know what I'm saying? You guys are crushing it.
Well, they
Absolutely
got
dominating.
lucky.
Yeah,
Super lucky.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I keep telling Cyrus, I'm like, listen, bro, the luck's gonna run out soon. You know, and listen, what's funny is I saw him before you guys won this one, and we were talking about the luck thing, and we were like, I mean, he probably wasn't joking, but I'm like, yeah, if you guys win this one, well, then you're out of luck. You know, like I'm just gonna keep saying it. I'm just gonna keep saying you've used all your luck, but you guys have been some lucky motherfuckers. I do want to dive into a little bit of your position on the snake side, because we're only 2 events in, but the argument could be made for sure that you are the leading snake player of the year. You are an unconventional snake player as well. You're not the fastest, no offense, don't take it that way, right? You're a bigger target, bigger body, but you are so incredibly effective, very methodical, aggressive, know when to attack. Like your timing on that side has been immaculate. It's kind of like the way Archie played it the last couple of years, not your typical snake guy, but you just find a way to get it done. So you said you were originally a Dorito player. How did you make the transition to become a snake player, and why did you make that transition? What was the whole thought process behind that? Like, let's kind of talk about that if you don't mind.
Yeah. So really, I would say it happened in like 2018 or 2017, probably more 2018. When I'd go and play with NorCal Infamous, I was always the Dorito side guy. But when I was playing with my team in Denver Chaos, I kind of rotated all over the place. I liked playing Dorito side. I wanted to be the one on the Dorito side. I liked attacking. I felt like I was a good gunfighter, all that kind of stuff, and it worked good for our team. But as you know, I kept trying to get better. I'm like, well, I can't just not know how to play the other side. So in practice, I started, as a group, I started making everyone play out of position and play different spots and try different things. And that's when I started to play the snake as well. And even just rotate on that side, play behind or in front of guys, and found that I wasn't bad over there either. At least I didn't feel like I was bad, and I would continue to just work on it. That was one of the things, or like one of the drills I did one off season in Colorado. I went to the indoor field because it's snowy, right? It's snowing in Colorado, so there was no playing outdoors. But in the off season, you go to the indoor field, and I just set up my phone against like a box or something, and I dove across a gap a bunch of times.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
And I started to just pick on everything I was doing. I'm like, okay, I'm really high. Why am I so high? Because I'm putting my knee down before I dive. Okay, let's stop doing that. All right, what's wrong now? Okay, I'm kicking my feet up, way up in the air. Why are my feet thrown up in the air every time I need to dive? I don't have to do that. Like, I can just let my feet lay. And so I just started to pick on things and work on crawling and just try and make sure I was a well-rounded player, really. At that time, there wasn't as many beams as there are in today's layouts, but you could still sometimes crawl between spots, even if you weren't on the snake side, right? So definitely something you needed to be better at. So I just tried to pick it up and learn as much as I could at that point. And then when I went out and played with AC Dallas, I was still mostly a Dorito player. They had Logan, like you mentioned, Logan Dyer was playing on the snake side. They had other guys that they liked over there. And so I was just trying to find a spot anywhere I could. Lo and behold, I'm playing behind Chavez, who's Chavez now, right? Everyone knows Jonathan Chavez. So tough luck over there for myself as well. So then in the next off season, when we were becoming paintball fit, we're playing a whole bunch, right? Chavez is playing on the other side. I'm like, well, it's just a night ball or whatever. That's right when night ball started. It's just a night ball that happened right at the end of the AC Dallas year. And in 2021 is when they put the lights up. So that next year is when we started playing more during the night and getting a couple night games in and actually scrimmaging together all the time. And I started playing different spots. And I went over into the snake a couple times. They're like, hey, you're not too bad over there. You want to try and play that for us? I'm like, yeah, I'll keep playing over there. And that's kind of how it happened with this team. But learning it, like I said, was just a drive for me. It was just something I felt like was a gap in my game and an opening that I could be even better at. I felt like it was hard to drill for a lot of like 2-roll things that I needed. Sometimes I'd want to play a 2 and kind of slow things down and help my team. But if I'm by myself at drill night, how am I supposed to work on my communication and directing guns? Not really something I can do. So I had to work on the 1 stuff. And that's why I would do all those snake drills and just try and open up as much as I could there. And yeah, it ended up paying off, I'd say.
Yeah. So how did you land that position on Fit as the lead snake guy? Like how did?
So yeah, once that next season, that 2022 year, like I said, we were just playing at night, and I would play over there sometimes at night during those scrimmages. And they're like, okay, let's have you try it more during the day and during the regular practices, and just kind of gradually started to float me that way. We also still had Brody. But Brody can play like really hot and cold sometimes, and so they wanted to have just another body and be able to rotate. Right, snake guys are notorious for being tired, so you got to crawl the whole dang thing, and that's just a lot on your body, so it's normal to get tired. So that's when we would start to rotate, and I just kind of continued to earn more spins. That's the great thing about playing so many points. If you're a good player and you're doing the right things, it's gonna come out. For sure. And I just continued to make smart rolls, smart decisions in my chances that I did have. I remember in that first semi-pro year, that first event, we ended up winning it. And I remember, I think it was a prelim game against FSU actually. And it was near the end of the match. It was a tie game at the time. Colt stood up, or maybe it was Trent Mason stood up and ran down the field. I'm in the snake one or something. I notice it's happening. I get up and I take off after him because I'm like, okay, well, this is my chance to make a play. Colt gets one or two guys. I get the last one or two. I hit the buzzer. We win the point, win the game. And that was just like a big moment, I feel like, for me in building the trust with those guys, because I come into the pit and they're like, that's how you do that. That's exactly what you should be doing. I'm like, no, that's why I stood up. Yeah, no, I get it. I saw him run. I had to run. They're like, yes, perfect. That you have to do that. I'm like, yeah, okay, good. Like, I'm glad I did it right. They're like, I thought that I did the right thing. Cool. So that's just reaffirming and kind of, I think, building that trust, in my opinion. That's kind of where I really felt like I started to earn the role of, okay, you're going to be out there all the time unless you're starting to fuck up or starting to need the time, right? If I need air or whatever else, then I'll start to play a little bit different. But
yeah, so again, like I believe that you play at a very unique pace. You play at your pace. So do you try to emulate any of the other top snake players that have done it for years, or have you consciously decided how you want to play the snake side? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but you play the snake side. I would argue, well, it's funny, you play it like a Dorito player, or I feel like you play the snake side the way that I played the Dorito side when I was the one on the Dorito side, where it was I might not always be the most aggressive, but I'm going to control my side enough to where it doesn't matter how aggressive someone else is, because I'm going to neutralize that attack. And then sometimes I'm going to beat them to the spot as well. But it was always methodical. That's how I played the one as the Dorito attacker my whole career coming up. And I feel like you play that style on the snake side, which is really hard to do. But I just want to know if that's a conscious thing, or if that's, a lot of players, that you put thought into how you want to play for your team, or if it's just kind of a natural go with the flow kind of thing.
No, I mean, there's definitely thought into it. I think a lot of it comes from me and Trent Mason talking during that first 22 season, and us just having the conversations. Him telling me hey, I don't want you to go forward and do that in that moment. I'm like, well, I could go get him and get him off the field and we can take this side. And he's like, but then if I go down and try and take this side, now no one's controlling any of this, and they're going to come do this, or this might happen instead. Yeah. And so just continuing to break down those situations, I started to figure out or decide that I thought it was more important to control the side and then be able to go forward than to try and go forward and lose control or kind of risk my body when our team still needs me to do more, right? If I can be a lot situation in paintball, maybe that's a oh, did I lose you guys?
We did for a second. I think we got you back. There we go. We're good.
Okay, I was going to say all of a sudden I saw spinning wheels.
Nice.
I think in a lot of situations, not almost any, I should say, but in a lot of situations in paintball, it's worth it more to be alive than it is for you to get that one more kill or do that one more thing you think you want to do, right? Because you being alive, you can then help get a kill and then still go get that kill in most situations. And there's just so much more than just running down the field and kind of throwing your body into whatever's first. And I know for a while that was kind of the meta for ones on each side, especially the snake side, right? Is get down the field, cause a car crash, get a kill, maybe get 2 kills, make them afraid, get off the field after that, and your team will clean it up for you. And that was also probably more 7-man style as well. But I feel like even in X-Ball, it was like that for a long time.
For sure.
I just felt like it didn't make sense. Me and Trenton talking, it just didn't make sense a lot for me to go forward into these really risky spots or really bad spots where I'm not having a big reward and I'm putting myself at risk. And so I feel like I just try and manage the risk with my body, right? I want to be alive. I want to be an annoyance to whoever's on the other side. They're like, oh, well, is he in there? Did he go forward or did he not go forward? Is he still sitting inside? Is he playing heads up? Like, what's that guy doing over there? And just having to think about it rather than, okay, he came down, he got our guy. That sucks. We don't have our guy we like from the snake, but we know he's not out there. It's 4-on-4. We can control the rest of this now.
100%.
Just trying to find that balance between aggressive and valuing my body, I would say.
Yeah, you got to have the element of surprise to where your opponent is not knowing exactly what you're doing or what you're thinking. And of course, number one, be alive, value your position, value your body out there. A lot of the times when you connect with your players next to you, you're going to reap the rewards of the free kills just by shooting the paint, staying connected, setting traps, allowing your opponent to feel like they're in control when they're not, because they don't know the intricacies of what you're connected with your communication on the field. So you can actually get a lot of eliminations from your opponents just by, like I said, the element of surprise or the unknown element, and just having your body alive and having the pressure on that snake side is going to do a lot more for you than, like you said, the car crash, getting off the field, and obviously always having faith in your team to clean it up. But, sometimes things don't go as planned. So the way that you guys are playing with the staggered attack, very well connected, setting the traps, applying the pressure in the correct way, pushing into certain zones, which opens up chambers of movement for new plays, and doing it so sequentially in perfect timing that it's allowing for all of the other players behind to have free moves and to support and keep bombing the field and just keep applying pressure with the paint. So it's been a really, impressive thing that you guys have been creating. And it started from, like March said, turmoil, tough times. But through those tough times, you guys have grown and solidified together in such a powerful way. And I would like to also ask, obviously the games are won inside the net. You got to get it done in the net. You got to move together. But outside the net has a lot to do with it as well. What are the conversations like outside the net between you guys when it comes to, the 10 days going into a tournament?
We're always usually discussing the games. We're definitely staying focused, and we're also having fun though too, right? We like to joke. All of us like to joke. Me and Cyrus have very similar humor. So we're always riffing off each other.
You're funny.
What's that?
So neither of you are funny?
Yeah, no, dry humor for sure. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you're going to hate it. Like, don't get away quick because it's going to get bad. It's either hit or miss for sure. Either you love them or you hate them. That's all there is.
I'm just playing. No,
you're good. You're totally good. But yeah, when it comes to talking about the practices and talking about what's happening, we're usually really direct. We're always trying to be very serious and very on top of each other, and attention to details is kind of those things that we're really looking for. Like I said, we're walking off at the event talking about why that point that we just won wasn't good enough. You can imagine it's just amplified out of practice, right? And we're playing against each other. We all hate to lose, or love to win, however you want to look at that. So we're competitive, and even in these practices where you're practicing your own teammates, we don't want to lose. So if my side is losing and I'm on whatever side's not winning as many points, like I'm definitely getting frustrated. I'm looking at guys, I'm going, what do we need to do? Like what's the problem? Yeah. What are we messing up on that they're doing good? How are they kicking our ass right now? Like we need to change it. And it just takes 1 point. So let's figure it out right now. How are we going to get the first one? And I know that's happening on the other side as well, no matter who's on what side, right? It's not just Colt or just coach, if coach is there, or just one guy. And I feel like that's a big part of that as well. And so we're all just real upfront and honest with each other all the time and focused. I'd say that's usually what the conversations are like, just mostly really focused on the game and trying to hold each other accountable and focus on those little details for the most part.
Do you guys listen to PTG?
I listen to it sometimes, yes. I don't listen to every single episode, but I do listen.
There we go. We'll take it. That's a little stamp right there, a stamp of approval by the fan. Nice.
So I also see you guys run pretty much like the same 5 players. a lion's share of the points, right? Throughout the success of the team, it's been pretty much the skeleton crew that has been clicking up these points onto the board, with obviously rotations being made. But yeah, talk to us about that and that decision to kind of throughout an entire tournament stick with the same crew.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to, as much as we practice, we kind of find out who we feel is playing the best in each spot. And if anyone isn't, then at the event, we'll go ahead and make those adjustments. If you were playing hot in practice, you're going to get that chance and get that spot and that opportunity to try and shine and show what you were able to do. But if for whatever reason you're not playing well or something's not going well, we'll go ahead and start to switch it up. And that's when you kind of see those rotations. Or if someone just gets tired, of course, you always have the rotational guy just to help gas people. But I think a lot of it just comes down, we have so much faith in what we're doing in those players because of how many different situations we get into. It's not a play-by-play adjustment or even like a scenario adjustment of like, oh, well, he can only play if the scenario is we're up or if we're down. That's the time where he's really good. Or if we can kind of let him do this or let him do that. It's like, no, he's got to be able to do a little bit of everything. And so we know everybody can do a little bit of everything in each spot and has played in each of these different situations a bunch of times, that it just feels like, okay, we trust this guy. Unless he's off, we trust him to get it done. And I think that's why we end up playing with a lot of the same guys for most of those points, in my opinion. And Xavi has insane cardio. I don't know how he does it. He never needs a break, it seems like, very rarely. I feel like I definitely need more breaks than he does. I remember that 2022 season, I needed a lot more breaks. And I made it a big goal of mine to get in much better cardio shape after that.
I know a lot of listeners, this is one of the most common questions that I get as far as fitness. They're like, what are some good exercises for paintball? If you want to get in really good paintball shape, and obviously you being a snake player, that's definitely the toughest position to play on the field. What are some good exercises for people? What keeps you, game ready?
I think anything that's going to get your heart going really hard. So I like to do longer runs now. I used to not do longer runs. I used to like doing sprints. But for me, I'm good at pushing myself throughout the long run, right? Like I don't go and like try and pace myself the whole time. While I am trying to find a good pace and be steady, I'm not trying to like, I got to make sure I'm going to feel good at the end of this run. Like I want to hurt in the middle of the run. I want to be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. This really sucks. And like keep going, and keep pushing through that. And that's what I feel like I need in paintball is, I'm going to be tired after some of these points in the snake. And there's no way not to be tired when you crawled that far. You had to do something really difficult, right? Had to sprint down the field 2-3 times in a minute, 10 seconds, whatever it might be. To do all that, like you're going to be tired. And it's just about being able to keep going when you're tired or be able to recover really quickly, right? So I feel like on those long runs, if I do get like really, really bad, sometimes my pace naturally backs off just a little bit. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm going too slow. I feel really good again. And I'll start pushing myself again. And that's kind of what I feel like the paintball game is, right? Like your heart's still racing. You're still going in between points because you're talking about the situations. You're focused on the next point, thinking about what's coming up. So your mind's racing, trying to put all these different variables together and think about the different variables and predict what people might be doing and stuff. So it's not like you ever get to relax. And I felt like that's what was wrong for me with the sprints was I almost relaxed too much, right? Like you have that time of not doing anything. You're just catching your breath. In paintball, we don't get a lot of that. Not in my opinion, not in an X-ball match either, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kind of coming off, putting paws on your back, talking about variables and walking out all at the same time. Like there's not time to like, let me just catch my breath for 2 more minutes. Like,
no adrenaline, no nothing.
Just 30 under 2 minutes, like if I played through the end of that last point, I hit the buzzer, 2 minutes starts, I'm still walking into the pit, need to do other things. I can't just relax and just breathe. So I found that the long runs and just pushing myself helped me the most.
Nice. That's actually great advice. I love that. I mean, because often, what I say to people is, I think uphill sprints. For me personally, I like to put cleats on, find a grass hill, uphill sprints, try to minimize the time in between. But you're 100% right. There's still time in between where I'm sitting there doing nothing, just catching my breath, and that is like not what's happening in a real game. You're never just catching your breath. I find one of the most difficult things to train for too is the communication. When you're yelling on the field, like there's no way to recreate that unless you're at the park yelling, just screaming, or just, I guess, playing a lot of paintball. How many days a week do you play?
As much as I can. We play usually 4 days a week at least, and then if we can, we'll play another one. So
yeah, it's nice. It's a lot as a whole group.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, sometimes people have things come up and they got situations, family, whatever else going on, they can't make it. But
and you guys don't practice other pro teams?
Not usually. Every once in a while we will. We had Ironman come out in between the first and second event.
Yeah, but on layout weekends, you guys never practice other teams?
No, not usually. We did a couple times, but not.
You guys practice yourselves or semi-pro teams?
Both. Usually earlier in the week, right? Not a lot of semi-pro teams can be there, so we'll practice ourselves, and we'll have 1 or 2 guys that'll fill in because we don't have a full 10. And then on the weekend, we'll practice all the divisional teams that are there, semi-pro, D2, sometimes even a D3 squad if they want to run a couple points, but try and just keep getting different looks.
It's so funny because in any other sport, that's how it's done. And in paintball, for some reason, we feel the need to go scrimmage other pro teams and show your cards before the event that you're going to play them on. You know, it's like such a strange thing. And, you know, it's kind of the damage formula as well. They try to only practice semi-pro teams. But in other sports, you wouldn't play other pro teams that you're going to compete against the very next weekend. You know, like you're preparing for a layout, and really you should have systems in place to be able to learn that layout effectively enough to be able to show up and compete and perform and like test your theory versus other teams' theories. I think the biggest reason people like to play other pro teams is because you feel like you can get shown something or learn something from somebody. And that is probably the wrong thinking, you know, because you should be able to foresee these things. You should be able to predict these things. You should be able to plan ahead for these things. But it is, again, it's just part of changing the meta, because for a long time, people thought that if you didn't have good teams that you're practicing against, then you weren't going to be able to do well in the event. But it's just not true. If you have good systems, if you understand what you're looking for, if you know how to break down a field, you absolutely can have success, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think it just comes down to everyone being honest too, right? And I think that's a big part of why we like playing ourselves or playing people that we know really well, right? Is you feel like you're getting the honest feedback. You don't care. Like, honestly, I feel like I don't care if you cheat us sometimes. Like, just tell me I bounced you, and I'll be like, okay, so my shot was on there. Even if you cheated it, just be like, yeah, you bounced me in that gap. Okay, cool. So the shot was on in that gap. Like, that is a hittable shot.
Yes.
Yeah, but when you have when you have a pro practice, the other pro team is sabotaging you. They are not telling you anything honest. They're actually trying to like play mind games with you and do weird things. Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, you bounced me when they ask, even though they didn't.
No matter what.
Like, no matter what. Your shot is spot on. Spot on, brother. Keep shooting that.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. No, I think that there's something very valuable in there, and I do want to talk about the tournament. Obviously, let's dive into Sunday. You guys went into Sunday having to play wild card. Went 2-2 going into Sunday. What is the mentality going into Sunday, and how much of the success of this team is mentality? Obviously, you guys do a lot of work, but I think there's something going on in the cerebral side that is really, allowing for deeper gears. And I have some more questions as well, but we'll just start there.
So I mean, the mentality going into Sunday was definitely to right our wrongs. I mean, that was, I feel like, kind of the theme of the whole meeting or the whole discussion that we had, right? Is like, we had opportunities to win those 2 matches that we lost, and now we're lined up to play both of those teams back to back. Let's just go out there and fix what we messed up. Like, it's not about, having to do this crazy change to our game plan or making some huge extravagant, thing that we needed to do or trying to blow anything out of proportion, but just picking on all those little details and where we weren't winning that we could have been winning and should have been winning based on how well we knew the layout or how we felt like they were playing and where we could exploit that. And so it was just super focused. Like I said, we were having fun the whole weekend. We always have fun with each other. So in moments we're like laughing, and then we're bringing it right back together, right? We're like, we can't help it. Like, me and Cyrus especially cannot help it. Like, you hear something and we're just like, our intrusive thoughts can't stop. Like, yeah, I'm going to tell a joke real quick. And then, like, someone Colt might look at y'all sideways, or Johnny might look at you sideways. You're like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that, but I couldn't help it. Like, I just needed to say it. And everybody
Yeah.
laughs, and then someone brings it right back. Someone's like, okay, but don't forget about this. Like, hey, we were just saying this thing. We want to pick on this guy, or we want to work on this weakness that we had in that match that we felt like they exploited, that we shouldn't have let them exploit.
Mm-hmm. Are you the players calling the shots, or is the coach calling the shots? Who's putting the players out there, and who's really, like, obviously the coach is calling the shots, making the plays, but you guys are seeing it firsthand as players, right? You're out there, you're in the trenches. So what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's the coach and now Colt both giving most of the decisions, but what they want to know is what we saw, because they only get a certain angle, right? They don't know what it felt like in that spot, or what you saw on the break in that second, or what you felt like your shot was. It's like, or if you did get shot on the break, did you feel like it was a whole bunch of paint and like there was no chance of making it, or was it, oh, I had a bad start, or whatever else it might be. And so there's definitely a lot of input that comes from the players, a lot of information being fed back and forth to make the best decision. And they'll listen if you decide you want to do something different. There's a lot of trust in everybody. They trust Cyrus to make those reads in the dead zones and things like that, right? That he's been kind of famous for really quickly, which I love for him. That dude's a baller. So I'm so excited every time he's out there stunting. I love watching him dance around in the dead zones too. He does it in practice too, so it's not like it's anything we're surprised by. But yeah, so that's kind of the focus, or that's the thought process behind that stuff. Where was I there? I think I lost track here.
Oh no, you're good. You're right on track, my brother. Yeah, and obviously it's information, right? Information is key to being successful. And you guys have some really interesting systems in place to acquiring information during even the match while it's happening, being able to know exactly what your opponents are doing. And I think that's something that's unique to the pro landscape right now. And you guys are kind of carving a new meta in that regard as well. Because I know, I saw firsthand that the information is being provided for each player that you're playing against live in each match while it's happening to the players, from an unknown source. I don't know how the hell you guys are doing it, but you guys are getting this information and applying it very quickly.
Yeah, it's just a lot of attention to detail, right? Attention to detail. There's so many things you could pick on in any sport. Scott, I want to know what your favorite point that you've ever played is. What is your favorite point? Favorite moment? Is it that one-on-one in overtime, or is there a more favorable? What's the favorite point you've ever had?
I mean, there's definitely a couple that come to mind. The one-on-one is definitely a special one. Being able to do that for the team. I did that actually in Cup 2022 in that distortion match. I ended up going to one-on-ones. I got to play that one too and won that one. That was a really cool moment as well.
So that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I thought maybe you guys were gonna send out Trenton, because he was a fucking gunfighting monster throughout that event, and they sent you out. There's history there. Then you've already won one of those for the team.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
yeah, that makes sense. All right.
I think Trenton's an amazing player. I think everyone thinks he's an amazing player. Still underrated, even though he just won the MVP, in my opinion. He's just a top player in the league, and I feel like he was even when we were AC Dallas. It's just, if everyone else isn't playing at that same level, or we're not working as a team at that level, it doesn't matter how good any one player is, whether it's Logan or Trenton or Colt or anybody else on that team. There was flashes of every player almost having moments of like, okay, these guys are really good paintball players, but it just wasn't obviously working out into success. Sorry, I am losing track of myself now. Getting off.
No. I was asking you what your favorite point is that you played. Yes. I got you off track, but yeah, what's your favorite point? The golden point of like a golden moment in your career there.
It's definitely got to be those team points, the long team points. There's some cool videos from the very first time we played Austin FSU in that semi-pro year, at least the first time I had ever played them. Those guys had a long history, right, being Texas rivals and everything. Playing those guys one of those first matches and winning a lot of those points based on just pure teamwork. Like, we have footage from some raw footage from the back line, and you can just hear us talking back and forth and trading off zones and doing a lot of what we still do today, but it was at such an earlier level, and so quickly we got to that already. It just wasn't consistent enough, right, at that time. So those points are really what I love. I can't think of any one in particular, but it was just a lot of like, hey, what's going on over there? Is the guy shooting at you still? Yeah, okay, he is still shooting at you. Okay, we're still waiting on this guy. Hey, let that guy go. Okay, yeah, I got to make sure he thinks I'm playing him. Okay, now let him go. Okay, he's going to come. He's going. Oh, yep, you got him. Sweet. Okay, that worked out just how it's supposed to. Those are always my favorite points, man. Any point where you just work together and it just flowed so freely and easily, those are the points I love. I can even think of a point in D5 where I played a 2-on-5 with a buddy. And then the teamwork doesn't need to be nearly as good, right, in D5. But we were just tucked in our spots, talking about everything and shooting cross, and at one point he'd be like, oh, this guy's rapping, you turn heads up, you might catch the guy. And like those points still are what stand out more than any of like an individual point where I go down the snake and shoot 3 guys or shoot 4 guys. Like those are fun. Yes, I love those points. I'm not trying to say I don't enjoy those points. Please give me more of those points. Let me shoot 4 or 5 guys. I love it. It's a lot of fun. But the most fun points, the most memorable points are the ones where it almost felt like, man, we might not win this point if we don't figure something out right now. Like we're in a bad spot. How do we do this together? And still being able to pull out those points. Those are the ones that are always the most memorable.
Love that.
All right, so it's 2-2. You guys are pressing into the Tauntauns in the finals right before the overtime. It looked like you guys almost had it in the bag. You have immense amounts of pressure applied to the field. They're all on the back line. What's going through the team's mind after you guys go into overtime? And then obviously the same thing happens again. You guys do the same thing, press into them, mass amounts of pressure. And once again, it didn't get completed. And they actually almost stole that point. So kind of walk us through that timeline of the 2-2 and then going into that overtime. And then we'll get into the one-on-one here.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being in the snake like midway through that regulation point and kind of looking up at Cyrus because I had crawled up next to him in that the mini brick that was over there, or the pillow, whatever we're calling those. Crawled up to that, kind of look over to him like, hey, like what's the situation? What's the zone? Like, what do you have on the Dorito side? Like, where's the last body that I don't know, basically? We're calling out certain spots, but I know there's a variable I'm missing. So we're starting to put that together. I hear the guy behind him, Jake's coming up too, right? And I'm like, hey, Jake, like, let's get you in a better spot. Let's talk about it more. And we're just continuing to put it together. We get Jake set up on the zone that Cyrus is on. Cyrus gets to go try and help Trenton because it was, I believe that one was the 4-on-2 or something like that in regulation. And so they're pushing down that far side. I'm trying to pressure as far as I can on the snake side as well.
They were hunkered in, man.
Yeah, they were just super tight in there.
Yeah.
And just not quite able to break it open. I remember trying to send some of the center guys and being like, yes, now we need to do it now. Like I felt like we maybe should have launched about 30 seconds sooner and we would have had a better chance. But when talking to the guys afterwards that, Trenton and everybody else, they're just like, look, I had this guy pressuring me or this was kind of what was stopping me. It was just every time I thought I had the chance, it wasn't there. And I'd have to fight one more guy or something. So it didn't feel like we actually had known the field, I guess, enough when they're in those certain spots to kind of close it out. And we weren't able to connect on the shots when we did have chances. I believe in that regulation one is when they were in the Dorito corner with one of their guys. And I had a couple different chances. I believe it was Fedorov to shoot him. And I missed, I think twice, maybe 3 different times on connecting on that shot. And the small stuff like that is exactly what the difference is in those points. Those guys are not bad paintball players at all, right? So when you miss that shot, now they're all adjusting for you being there. And there was just a little bit of missed opportunity. So that one was super frustrating. I know we're coming off on the end of that one, focus for the next one, but also kind of annoyed and frustrated that we didn't close that one out. It's like, hey, when you're in those situations, the end of these matches, I mean, it was 2.5 minutes, I think, and we were already in an up body situation, pushing onto their side. You have to finish those moments, right? Like, can't take those moments for granted and let another team have another chance at 5-on-5. Anything can happen at 5-on-5, right? So I remember being very frustrated, but also focused and ready for the next one and determined and knowing, like, in our heads, we're just going to go win this next one. We're going to shoot them off the break like we like to do, and we're just going to go down the field and we're going to win this next one. It's not a big deal. I believe they ran the same personnel as they did in the point right before end of regulation in OT, which we felt was more of like a center push line. And so we were ready for that. I think we caught both the guys going up the middle again, but they did go into the snake. Or actually, no, it wasn't the center push line because they had both their snake guys. They had Hugo and Axel out there. So they made it into the snake on the break, I'm pretty sure, in that overtime point. Axel gets into the can behind him, and that really slowed us down. In that overtime point, though, I had again another chance to try and help us break it open. I had a shot on the pack of Hugo in the snake.
Oh, it was so close, dude. It looked like it was good.
Yeah, and I just missed it. I mean, the paint's not flying perfectly straight because of all the rain, right, and all the other stuff going on, dirt everywhere at that point.
Yeah.
And just barely missed it. I'm definitely kicking myself for that one. And then once again, as we're pushing down, we just could not quite close it. And that point, Cyrus actually didn't have any air. So Cyrus,
he was just texting me this.
Gaps. I'm like telling him to hold it. He's like, no, I cannot hold. I'm like, what do you mean you can't? You're in the best spot. Hold the gap. He's like, I can't hold it. I can't do it. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me right now? I don't know what we're doing here. Why are you there? What are you doing in that spot if you can't do anything? What are you doing? So
he was texting me this.
And that's why I was the one being like, Cyrus, you need to go. You have to go at the end of that one, and sent Cyrus first, because I'm like, you don't have anything, hopefully, when they turn. And once again, that's another chance I had on the guy in the Dorito there. When they turned to shoot for Cyrus, I missed the Dorito guy's hopper, right? Because he's shooting wide for him. But yeah, just those little games of inches. And then Marky, I think, came down the middle. He catches me. Jake felt like he got him first and got spun on, but that just gets called.
So if you look at the webcast, it definitely looks like Marky has a hit in his leg before he passes the brick and continues to shoot and make the trade. That was a missed call. I think that's for sure a missed call. So what's funny is I think it's like just the karmic righteousness that Axel slipped, because because Axel should have, again, obviously if it's dry conditions, I don't know. Axel, I feel so bad for him, because we talked about this at the start of the show. It was like he was right there. He had it, and it just slipped away from him, quite literally. But I believe Marky had a hit on him in his left leg. So again, if you go back and watch that exchange, it looks like Marky has a hit in his left leg, goes through, continues to shoot, gets the trade, and probably should not have been alive. It probably should have been a major.
Turns it
I would have to watch that again. I was watching it in real time while I was in the lounge at the airport, on sending my ass home, and and I was like, oh yeah, it looks like there was a hit there, So I'd have to rewatch to confirm. I don't want to put that out there if it's not true, but that's what I saw.
I was gonna say that's neither here nor there. Then they almost make a great run.
Right.
After, once again, just recognizing the situation. I tried to play off of Jake Sebaugh's move. I didn't time it correctly, and Axel was still waiting on me, so he was able to catch me.
Hell of a shot.
The snake guy. But yeah, Axel had a great shot too, right? Like I didn't show a lot. He hit me right in like the wrist, like the only spot you can kind of see, and you come up and come back down. Great shot by Axel. So he recognizes that he's got both of us, turns up, sees that, the third guy is dead as well, and kind of takes off to go get that buzzer. And we're definitely all watching, and luckily saw him slip, and we're like, no, he didn't get it. We're all trying to obviously argue our way like a football team and a fumble. Everyone's pointing their direction, even if the other team clearly got it. So
yeah, actually, CB2K from our Discord, he's wondering, do you think he would have got it if he didn't slip?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's a quick dude. He was right there. He literally was a step away. I think it would have been really close, but I think he would have had it had he not slipped.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation, certainly.
And then we got your boy Cyrus, who's also in PTG World here. Shout out to the Patreon. Thank you to everybody who supports. And Cyrus, thank you for being a part of the community for so many years. Been a pillar in here. So we love you, man. He's wondering what went through your head before you played the one-on-one. Obviously, he slipped. There was a moment. They're looking at the footage. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Is the clock that the viewer is seeing the same clock that the actual time is? They're trying to make sure it's all done right. You guys are sitting around and waiting, and you get the word, shit, it's time. It's go time. It's one-on-one time. What's going through your head before that? Cyrus wants to know that. Also, what does DDB mean? That's what he said.
We're not going to talk about DDB on here. We're not going to talk about that. There's no need for all that.
Whoa. No, I have to know. What the fuck?
Come on, Cyrus.
So right before the overtime one-on-one, as it goes into, or as Axel slips and that kind of happens, I'm like, okay, we're going in one-on-ones. I think it's no good right away, right? Being the person that doesn't want it to be good, of course I think it's no good right away. So I'm instantly like, okay, we're going to go into one-on-ones. I think about what's probably going to happen. I'm like, okay, they're going to send me. If it goes the way I think they're going to send me. It's probably going to be Axel or Fedorov on the other side. So I'm just instantly focused. I come off. I don't think I had any pods on my back at the end of the OT point. So I just come off. I grab 5 pods. I put them in my pack right away. I'm like, okay, I think it's a 1 or 2 minute point. I think that 5 pods is probably about right. If it's 2 minutes, if it's 1 minute, I'll maybe drop a pod or 2. But that should be enough. We'll
Do you guys
do this one-on-one?
Also, during practices, I'm sure you guys are doing one-on-ones religiously to see kind of who's the best one-on-one player, right? So at practices, are you one of the standout players in the 1v1s?
We actually don't do a lot of 1v1s. I mean, games will come down to one-on-ones, and that'll just kind of happen naturally in the middle of points, but we don't do any like 1v1 tournaments or anything like that. No.
Okay. Interesting.
So I think I'm going to have to go out and play it. So instantly I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go win this one-on-one for us, and we're going to win this event again. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm just thinking about how I want to do it, where I'm going to go, what I want to do. I'm like, okay, the snake side can's probably the most dangerous spot on the field. Really don't want to have to go there on the break in a one-on-one and risk my body for no reason. And I know about, I don't know, a minute after that part happens and they start the review, Fedorov walks over and he's kind of laughing and joking and talking to people right in front of our area, you know, shaking our coach's hand, talking with Colt and being all friendly. I'm like, I wouldn't do that if I was playing the one-on-one. So I'm going to assume he's not playing the one-on-one, at least not first. So I'm going to assume it's Axel. So I'm already thinking about playing Axel. I know he's a snake guy. He's quick, but I doubt that he's going to want to do that same thing. Say that again.
That's crazy. That was like the demeanor when the match isn't over, right? Because you're right. It gives away such a tell of who's going out there. There's no competitive advantage. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, I was surprised that Fedorov would come over like that, but he was right there. I mean, he's not in our pit or anything like that.
No, I feel you. Yeah.
Jason's on our side in that pit, so he's over right in front of Jason and all those guys and talking about the situation, and then he's joking and talking with Colt and our coach and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I don't think he's going to play it. He looks like too relaxed and too happy. So I'm thinking it's Axel. Then I'm considering, okay, do I want to play over the home and just kind of stand there and, you know, flutter? I know that our guys have been caught like that, just standing in the home, trying to shoot their shot and get down, or later in matches, sitting over the home, playing the nipple. You're getting caught by people just shooting over the top, right? Clint Johnson did it a lot from the brick. He'd stand up and just shoot. So same idea from the home, right? So I'm thinking maybe I'll do that. And then I'm thinking, okay, what's the best bunker in a one-on-one? No, it's probably like an Aztec. And that's really where I want to be. I want to go to an Aztec. Okay, so that's the Dorito side. That first Dorito side bunker is going to be the Aztec. My biggest concern then is just like trying to figure out if I can find out where Axel's going to be standing before the break, because he's so short. Like, he does have a blue beanie. That might help. But besides that, like, I might not be able to see where he's at, which would then maybe help me catch him right away, right? Like, I'd love to just shoot him on the top. So I couldn't see him as we lined up. So then when we took off, I went straight to that Dorito Aztec and kind of played it, reading it kind of from there. I guess I would say I was trying to be dominant, but mostly just reading the situation, kind of play off it.
You went running and gunning down the field.
Well, we slowed down a little bit first. I mean, I was able to be gun dominant, so he didn't have control. I'd like to kind of.
You scared him, man. He was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
And then I was just shooting off every bunker nearby him too. I'm like, "Oh, there's this little Dorito right there. I can shoot off 10 bunkers maybe." I was just trying anything I could at that point.
He didn't know, like, his body language when you shot him. He didn't know what hit him. Like, honestly, is like, it happened so fast and erratically. If I was him, I probably would have like hunkered down a little bit more. He fought pretty hard out of the edge of that temple when you went on your attack. You know, maybe letting you feel like you're in control would have been the move for him. And then, you know, staying alive, just staying hidden for a second and then regain dominance. But he fought pretty hard out of that edge, and you put a great paintball on him once you got into the Doritos. Just an immaculate shot off the edge to get that win there.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. I got a question from the Discord. Riley D wants to know, is it becoming the goal of each fit player to get the post-event MVP interview exclusively from PTG?
No, I don't think that was in anybody's game plans. I don't think we scripted everyone going separately. I think we all wanted to win the MVP at the same time, right? We all wanted to win it together. No, I mean, for me, I really don't even like. Don't get me wrong. I liked winning it. I wanted to win an MVP in my paintball career, and win an overall and a finals MVP separately or together. All that stuff is definitely goals, but that's not what I'm like there for. That's not what I'm focused on.
Of course, team.
So this kind of thing isn't necessarily a thought process either, in my opinion. It's not like I can't wait to earn an MVP so I can get on the PTG show. I do like watching your guys' show. I love when you guys have cool guests on. I can hear some cool stories. Love when my buddies come on and get to watch them talk about stuff. But yeah, it's never like a thought process of like, how can I get to that next thing? It's just wanting to build as a group, to be honest.
It's deep in there. It's deep in there.
The thing about MVP goals too, I actually think it gets very misleading. I believe that every player in any sport should want and care to achieve an MVP award. And I don't think it's selfish. I think it can appear selfish if you don't truly understand it. You don't get the MVP award by being a selfish player. You don't get the MVP award by thinking about yourself. You get the MVP award by doing what's best for your team and pushing yourself beyond your own limits, beyond what's possible or what people think is possible in that event, in that competition, whatever it might be. So I actually think striving to be an MVP is very healthy if you understand it the right way. But there, you get these like commentators, you get this conversation of like, don't care about you shouldn't care about being an MVP. No, you absolutely should care about being an MVP because that means you are doing all the right things for your team.
Right.
That is why you're the most valuable player. It is not because you're flashy. It is not because you're like this superstar. It's because you are doing the most valuable things for your team. So I'm a huge fan of players that understand what it actually means to be an MVP and players that do strive for that because it is being a team player. It is doing what's best for the people around you. It is all of the right things. But it gets this like negative connotation, which is just complete bullshit. And honestly, usually from people that are commentating about a sport that they've never achieved anything in, So it's we'll leave that there. But, the MVP award is definitely appropriate. It's the most valuable player and you are valuable to your team for, many reasons, and being selfish is not one of them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be like you're saying, you can't be a selfish player. You can't be thinking only of yourself and still win the MVP because those two, like you're saying, they don't go together.
They don't go together. You don't win.
You're only thinking about you. Like you can't. It doesn't happen. Mutually exclusive,
It doesn't happen. You're not going to be winning the events. You're not going to be making the right move. Like it just doesn't happen. It's not how sports are it's very neat actually. Games are designed to be played the right way. And when I say neat, I mean clean. I don't mean interesting. I mean, like it's very clean sometimes. They're designed to be played the right way, and winning, again, like an MVP award, something like that, or it's fairly simple to break down. Usually you just did the right things that the game called for in that moment, which was in the overall best interest of the group around you. It's usually very simple, like when things are selfish, you're making a move that you think is flashy or cool, but it's not in the better interest. It's not the right decision for the group at the time. You talked about this earlier, maybe a conversation with Trent and Mason of like, oh, I could go get the snake guy. Yeah, but I don't need you to get the snake guy right now. Like that move is going to look sick, but we don't need that right now. It's not going to help us win. Yeah, you can go to their side right now. You could bunker the center guy and be alive on their side. But guess what? That invites them to bunker you and be alive on our side. Yep. So is it actually better for the team or did it just look like a cool move? Exactly. So the MVP award is, it's, if truly understood, it's actually probably the most selfless player on the team usually, and the one that is just doing the most for the group. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, but I also think sometimes it gets lost, right? Because we don't always see everything, right? Because in my opinion, Colt could be the MVP from this event for how he helps us in the pits too, right? Like, and I'm not trying to say any one player should or shouldn't be, but I think sometimes the flashy move gets the MVP, even when they sometimes don't deserve it. Not always, or not maybe even usually, but sometimes that is how it goes. And it's like, that's not what I'm striving for, is to be seen by everybody else as an MVP. I want my team to know that we did I did what I needed to do and everything I could do to make us the best we could be. And so that's, in my opinion, where the balance comes for me in my head of, yeah, I want to win MVPs, but it's not like my goal is to go win the MVP. It's like my goal is to be an MVP of my team, like actually do it, go and do whatever I have.
You're saying the same thing.
I feel that.
100%, dude. 100%. Yeah, it's again, well earned, man. Obviously, you have a good head on your shoulders. All right, we got Mark Paris. He always has good questions. Scott, who's the best cook in the Fit family, and what is your favorite team meal?
Casey Harris, our coach, is definitely the best cook. He cooks a bunch of meals for us all the time. I like any good meats like brisket. I even do like a really good chicken that he'll make.
I mean, try not to be a stereotype, bro. You say brisket. You're from Texas. Come on, man.
I have the brisket though.
I have it though. No,
fatty brisket. Don't get the lean stuff. You need the fatty in there. That's where all the fucking flavor is, dude.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay.
It's the good stuff.
Definitely what you want. Back home, I used to have tri-tip, but that's less what they make out here, right? So if you're talking team meals, it's usually something like a big old pasta plate, a huge thing of pasta with like some sort of meat mixed in there. Mac and cheeses with some meat in there, or just mac and cheese. That's actually Jacob Johnson's mom usually makes some bomb mac and cheese that she'll send to us. Yeah, we're definitely spoiled when it comes to food for sure. But yeah, all the meals are fun because it's just who you're around, right? And we always like to go to different places at the events and try different food locally, which is always fun as well. But when it comes to the home cooked stuff, it's definitely going to be Casey Harris for sure. He always makes the best.
Hell yeah.
Damn, it sounds good. Yeah, Dalton loves tri-tip. It's an amazing.
That's what I was thinking of too, bro. All I was thinking of was Dalton on that. Jesus, Dalton.
Man.
That's funny.
Hey, man, paintball is so amazing. We got the best teams and families, and just that's like what you just said there. It's all about the company, man. It's all about the laughs, the jokes, the good times, the food, the ups, the downs, the trials and tribulations. That's what makes this whole thing so much fun, and why every single one of us sitting here, all of you out there tuned into the show, why we keep coming back week in, week out, going to these tournaments, laying our bodies on the line, our mentality on the line for those moments and for that fun. I personally want to know what's something about you off the field that would surprise most people or that people don't know about you.
Something random from off the field here.
Yeah.
I guess I can do a Rubik's Cube really quick. That's something that's pretty random.
Yo.
One in like about 3 minutes or so.
Okay, so how'd you learn? Did you learn from YouTube? Be honest.
I think when I was in high school, it was YouTube, and you get the little booklet. It gives you how to do it.
Yeah.
In a little booklet with the actual Rubik's Cube when you buy it. So in high school, I just was going crazy with trying to learn it and stuff and get faster and faster at it. Me and a couple of buddies would do it in one of our classes where you didn't have to do anything because it was senior year and we had dumb classes on purpose to not have to work, right? So just learn how to do that and we do it all the time in high school just for fun. And yeah, I still know how to do it. I do it every once in a while. I got a couple of Rubik's Cubes.
Dude, that's interesting. Yeah, my kids love them. I got Rubik's Cubes all over the house here. Yeah. They're always fiddling with those things. They're fun.
Yes.
What do you do outside of paintball? What's your job?
I do like technical customer service is what I would say is like the most generic way to say it. I work for a company that has like a mobile app and they basically work with utility companies and telecommunications companies and provide them like mapping type services or help them use the maps that they have, right? They already have like this map of the poles or whatever else in the world that they're managing, right? And we just let them use our app to then do their work or manage their work they're doing for that stuff. So, going out and working on a damaged pole or working on a transformer box or something else with electricity or gas or whatever utilities that they might be doing, water. And our app helps them manage that process.
Interesting. All right, we got I mean, working hard, brother. Yeah. And that is it's something that we appreciate so much about everyone in the paintball community, how hard everybody's working to make these dreams come to reality, because it's not easy, man. It really isn't. And it takes a whole tribe of people believing in each other and working their asses off to make these moments come true, like what you accomplished out there in Atlantic City. We got GF. I don't even, this is a wild name. Sorry, brother. But we're going to go G Frackle. There we go. G Frackle in the house. we went over the first portion of the question, but he wants to know, do you have any internal dialogue or rituals to keep you focused and calm in those kind of high pressure situations?
I like to just take deep breaths, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. Super deep, long breaths as much as you can. You know, I've learned a lot over the years and watched a lot of different videos and things about how to calm your heart rate and things like that. And they talk about doing like a really deep breath. And once you feel like you have a full breath, to breathe in a little bit more again, and then hold that for a couple seconds and release that slowly. Throughout my time, I've always been told breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth is going to help as well. I try and focus on that stuff, like just all the small things to kind of control what I can control, right? And then I tell myself the mantras that I have, whatever they might be for that weekend or that day or for that moment that I think I need to hear to kind of just reaffirm what I believe in my life, you know, which is things like, you know, all I have to do is trust all the work I've been doing. You know, you work hard for this. This isn't about this moment. It's about everything else that you've already done. This moment was decided a long time ago. You know, be undeniable in this moment. You know, just believe in yourself, believe in the moment, believe in your boys. Like when I was walking out for the 1v1, it was like, hey, I'm doing it for all you guys. We're still connected right now as I step out there. Like I'm going to do it with all you guys, but I'm going to do it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's go. You know, and it's just that constant belief in yourself and the belief that what you're doing is working and is right. And so everything else is going to work itself out. You know, that's another mantra I always say is just let it all work out. I love that Lil Wayne song too. So I listen to that one a lot, like getting ready for matches and stuff, and just remind myself that just let it all work out. Everything's going to work. Trust everything we do. Work as hard as you can. It's all going to work out.
I love that, man. Yeah, you're a magnet. Your thoughts are magnetic. They draw reality towards you. So being super thoughtful with the words that you choose to fill your mind with in those moments is pivotal, absolutely pivotal for success, because what you think will be. So make sure that you're putting those good thoughts inside the brain and really boosting yourself. You're the #1 all-star player of your reality. So boost yourself up. Give that all-star player you the best information possible, you know? Be really thoughtful with those words. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, damn, Scott Stewart, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you for taking some time. I know it's just a day after the big win, and I'm sure you probably have drills to get to tonight over at the Fit Place. You guys probably are going
early.
to work
You
on.
know, we don't get started till 10:30, 11, go until 4 o'clock in the morning. Just short practice tonight.
Just short practice. Yeah. No sleep, no nothing. Just paintball 24/7. But brother, again, like I said, truly from a paintball fan perspective, an inspiring story. Congratulations on the big win. And yeah, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate the podcast and everything you guys are doing for the sport. It's really awesome, man. Thank you guys.
Dude, all up for the game, man. Yeah, before we go, let people know where they can follow you, please, so that they can follow your journey. If there's any socials for the team that you want to hype up, let them know where they can keep up with you.
Yeah. Follow me on Instagram is usually the best spot. ScottStewart.0, I believe, is the handle. I'm pretty sure it's .0. And then also Welts Clothing is my clothing brand that I run. Just all about.
That's yours?
Yeah, Welts Clothing is me.
Bro, hold on. So do you know who? Oh my God, Cameron. What the hell's his last name? Cameron. Bushby. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. You know Cameron Bushby? Oh shit. Yeah. Okay, so he used to bring because I coached the Vegas Misfit team, but they were the old LTZ team. And so he brought the Welts thing, and it was like we LTZ, you know? And so that's like how I remembered it. I was like, oh shit, that's kind of funny. Yeah, cool. Cam, dude. I love that kid so much, dude. That kid is amazing. But I didn't know that was your brand. Awesome.
Yeah, so everybody, please go support his brand. Yeah. Also, Jay Stu, cousin Stu, he says what's up. He's in the Discord as well. And once again, thank you to everybody who's gone over to the website and supports us on Patreon. We love you over there. And you've got a ton of fans in the PTG World Discord. They're all super happy you're here. And we're very grateful for your time. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing in the game, brother. So sorry to cut you off. I know you were doing the plugs there. So definitely go follow him on Welts as well.
Yes, indeed.
And then PB Fit, obviously, give them a follow.
Fit, Hydra. Make sure you follow Verb too.
Yep.
Those are the main ones for sure. Fit and Hydra.
Oh,
guys.
Verb.
ones.
Verb wants to know. Yeah, how can we not? We have to ask Verb's question
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
before we go. Favorite food and favorite place to eat it. Everybody knows the drill. Come on.
So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and say not brisket this time. I'm gonna say bacon burnt ends at Heim Barbecue is the place it's called.
Yo,
It's like
all
right down
right.
the street from my place where I'm at here. I'm like right by the Dallas Love Field Airport. There's a Heim Barbecue right there, HEIM. Place has amazing bacon burnt ends. It's what they're apparently world famous for. I don't know if it's actually world famous. I love them. They're fatty, lots of flavor, very little bit amount of meat, but it's very tasty.
Verb's gonna be there tomorrow. He's on his way.
Yeah.
On his way.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome, man. Well,
Hell
again,
yeah.
we appreciate you, brother. We'll have to have you on again soon. Thanks for taking the time, and enjoy your night. Enjoy the victory. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, brother.
Later, guys.
Peace. Later, bro.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all. And we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.